This story isn't fiction, it's a mirror. Let's talk about what no one wants to say, but everyone needs to hear. There was a young man named Ayotunde, and from the outside, he was the kind of child every parent prayed for. He was respectful, well-dressed, educated. He spoke only when spoken to. He never raised his voice and he never disappointed. They said he was a good man, but deep down, he was disappearing. See, Ayotunde used to feel alive, and as a child, he would draw for hours. Not for praise, but for peace. He would sketch rivers, trees, faces. Anything that made him feel free. He didn't just draw nature, he understood it, because to him, nature spoke. The trees taught him patience. The rivers taught him movement. The wind taught him surrender. And silence taught him truth. Oh, but when he got older, that silence was replaced with noise. You're a man now, be responsible. That art thing, it wouldn't pay your bills. And so he listened. He became the version of himself that people clapped for. The version that fits in. He worked a good job, made decent money, smiled on cue, and died a little more quietly every day. But then one day he broke. No loud arguments, no public meltdown, just a quiet morning where he couldn't get out of bed. He stared at the ceiling for hours, feeling like a stranger in his own life. And instead of going to work, he went away. He didn't pack a bag, he just got in his car and drove. He didn't even know where he was going, he just knew he couldn't stay. Eventually, he ended up in a remote village, where the trees were still tall and nobody knew his name. He stayed in that village for a week. He didn't tell anyone, he didn't post, he just felt again. But sitting in that silence wasn't easy, because when the world finally stops talking, you start to hear all the noise inside. Ayotunde didn't just meet nature there, he met his grief. He remembered the first time he stopped drawing. Not because he wanted to, but because someone said, "Art can't feed you." He remembered hiding his sketchbook under his bed and hiding himself with it. He sat under a tall Iroko tree and whispered something he hadn't said before. "I abandoned me." And that was the moment he realized. He was taught to perform and not express. He was trained to impress and not feel. He was trained to succeed, but never taught how to rest. He took out a book he had brought by mistake and began writing things he had never said out loud. I miss the me who didn't care what people thought. I miss silence that doesn't demand anything from me. I miss creating for joy and not applause. And I miss being alive. One day, he picked up a charcoal and drew a tree. But this time, he didn't draw what he saw. He drew what he felt. The roots twisted like chains. The branches stretched like ants, reaching for light. And the leaves, they were pages floating away. It wasn't just art, it was truth. And that was when it hit him. This isn't just painting, this is me finally speaking in my real voice. He finally understood that purpose isn't a position, it's a permission. You don't need to escape the world, just stop escaping yourself. The world doesn't need more performers. It needs more people who are honest. See, that tree didn't change him, it reminded him. At age 33, Ayotunde came back to the city, not to perform again, but to be present. He returned to the same apartment, but this time, he hung his own works on the walls. Not the certificates, not the accolades, but this time he drew with his own hands. Now, he doesn't care for applause, he doesn't draw for likes, he draws for healing. He teaches arts to children, not because it's noble, but because he never had someone to tell him, see, your gift is not a waste. It's a way back to yourself. And someone once asked him, why do your painting feel so alive? He smiled and said, it wasn't just art, it's a conversation with the earth. This story is encoded with literary terms, and you really need to find it. You really need to understand it. The number 33 should help you discover it, should help you uncover it. And I will be so glad if you can really understand this story. If this story made you pause, maybe it's time to talk to yourself. This is the end of this story, but I will urge that you support by following, subscribing, liking this video, commenting your opinion. Share the video to who you feel needs to hear it. Let's awaken the soul, one story at a time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.